Octagon News.
And I gave him credit for, so I've got to respect that. He's a formidable opponent. Wrestles fair since he's a kid. Has put a lot of time into his stand-up work. And he was a lot sharper than I anticipated he was going to be. So I've got to respect that. You know, it was his big moment.
Yeah.
It's easy to do this once, okay? It's very easy for someone to be given something and to do it just one time. That's like you put your absolute all into it. But to do it time after time and year after year, that's when the motivation kind of dips. That's when the dedication kind of lacks, and that's when people creep up, and that's what I feel has happened here. You know, I didn't give him his respect. I marched forward, didn't give a shit. I got caught with that overhand. I would not get, if I switched on, I would not get caught with that overhand in any form of combat. So I'm very confident, very eager, very in shape, and let's keep it going.
He didn't want to stand with
almost dropping someone, because he almost dropped me. He didn't drop me. I got back up on my feet, threw shots through a knee, and then he shot. Imagine almost dropping someone with a picture-perfect shot, a picture-perfect punch, and then shooting for the legs.
That's a pussy shit,
done,
bro.
and then you shoot for the legs. Stand up. I mean, you beat a man convincingly. It's not really necessary to go back for a rematch, but when there's dispute, or when or if there's dispute, then there must be a rematch. There's been dispute in my last one. I slapped his brother and his cousin around on top of the cage. He tried to come back. This is not over, so there's dispute. There's got to be a rematch. That's the
I know Robbie was angling for a fight with Darren Till, but after Masvidal starched Darren Till, which was nasty, man.
Nasty, man.
People sleep on Masvidal.
They do.
I do not know why. I don't understand it. Go back and watch those backyard fights. That guy's been going at it a long time.
Hey, man, and he even, man, both backyard fights.
Yeah,
the one
man.
that he just had again this weekend.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That was crazy. What was that about?
It's about it's like, you can't just talk, like nowadays, it's this era. You could just say whatever. You feel like you can say what you want because it's social media. You want to get fans on your side and this and that. And he just happened to say it to the wrong guy at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Like that's the situation. And you did it backstage to it. Masvidal don't give a fuck.
No,
like I've it's, mutual. I think it's mutual respect with me and Masvidal. Like I respect him. I mean, if we have to fight, we have to fight one day. But, like we feel the same when it's like, if you're going to talk shit online, when I see you, keep the same energy.
Give us your thoughts on the fight with Woodley, how it all played out. Did you expect Usman to dominate Woodley like that?
Yeah, it was a boring fight, man. I'm glad I was in the crowd. The loudest pop the crowd was when they put me, the People's Champ, on the big screen. That's when the fans went crazy. Besides that, it was a boring fight. You saw a guy in Tyrone Woodley who's a shell of his former self, a guy that doesn't want to fight anymore. And let's be honest, Jason. I had already given Usman the blueprint on Woodley. I said it for years. I said Woodley sucks. He has no cardio. He's got no fight. He's got no heart. I said the way to beat him, But let's be honest. I already beat his ass multiple times in the gym. I took his soul, and the guy is not the same guy that he used to be. He's not even a top 10 level fighter anymore, so he shouldn't even be fighting. He should stick to his non-existent Hollywood career that he's trying to go after and his pathetic rap album career that he's going after. He's trying to make songs about me and this and that. He's not a fighter anymore, and that's what we saw last time when he fought Usman.
But all hail Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, sort of a lifetime achievement type of win for him this weekend. And given my personal experiences, Ken Flo, couldn't happen to a better guy, honestly.
This was a very tough fight for Darren Till, despite that huge size advantage. I didn't love this fight for him. Jorge Masvidal has a ton of experience, but I got to say, it seemed like he was a little emotional. He was getting a little wild against Darren Till. But eventually, once he settled down into that second round, he made the proper adjustments. And Darren Till always gets away with just framing, and he doesn't quite framed properly. He doesn't protect his face. He just kind of sticks his hands out there. And he gets away with it because he has such a long reach and he's so much bigger than everybody. People don't look for that blitz. Jorge Masvidal made the adjustments and because cut an angle when he broke off from being in the pocket against Masvidal. He got caught with that left hook. And this was something that I thought Jeremy Stephens was going to try to do against Khabib Nurmagomedov because Khabib does the same thing. He backs straight off, and he has that height and reach where he gets away with it. Someone's going to get onto that, and they're going to throw more than just one shot. And that's exactly what Masvidal did. Landed a huge shot, and that left hook just put Darren Till out. Now, he's 24 years old. It's not a huge deal, but the fact that he got knocked out cold like that at this point in his career concerned me. What a win for Jorge Masvidal.
Right. For Darren Till, I think a lot of people are rushing to judgment in terms of, can he become a UFC welterweight champion? Is he going to move up to 185 pounds? What is his future as contender? But you never like to see a 24-year-old concussed like that and knocked out cold like that. But I still think the ceiling is very high for Darren Till. I'm not willing to sit here and say he can't be a UFC champion. I'm just not sure it's going to happen at 170 pounds. You know, he made 171 pounds. You saw Mark Ratner with a quick trigger there when he announced the weight. I just am not sure that this is a guy who's going to be able to sustain excellence while making this cut perpetually down to 170 pounds. As far as Jorge Masvidal is concerned, and we're not done on Darren Till just yet, but he looked to be in the shape of his life, Kenny, and I know he took a year off. He went and did that reality show at an undisclosed location. Physically, this just looked like a different game bred, right? A six-pack, right? He just looked to be in a different type of shape. Not that he isn't in good shape, and I know you called a 5-round fight that he was involved in South Korea, right? It's not that he hasn't been in shape, but the minute he took his shirt off to do his open workout or whatever it was, I felt like we were dealing with a different game bred. I think the time off really served him well, and I think it just gave him a lot of confidence mentally too. I just think it put him in a great headspace entering the fight. And yeah, he got cracked early by Darren Till, and this could be a different narrative that we're dealing with here on Monday morning, but I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. I thought Masvidal was absolutely in the shape of his life going it.
I wanted to ask you, from your standpoint, you're part of a big camp there. Do you feel like in today's MMA climate, because this is one of the things we were talking about, professional MMA climate, that everybody is properly focused on, especially like as coaches and training partners go and things like that, any fighter that's ever exhibiting any concerns of like mental issues and that sort of thing, do you feel like we're, as a sport, kind of where we need to be in terms of the earliest recognition of that kind of stuff and also erring on the side of caution even when there's a lot of money involved? Or what are your thoughts on that, and if you have any specific thoughts on the Tony Ferguson situation?
I don't know a whole lot about his thing, about what's going on with him. I saw on Twitter today that people were saying his wife, they were retweeting stuff, some about his wife probably complained or something like that. I'm not sure I don't want to speak on it because I don't have all the information, and I don't want to speak on another man's name. I don't know his whole story. But, I wish him and his family the best. You never want to see anybody go through anything like that. I know he has kids and stuff, so, I really wish him the best, and I wish him the best. I hope he's okay. I don't know him personally at all. But for me, at a big gym, I definitely think we're the most educated we've ever been on brain trauma and on training smarter. But at the end of the day, we're not professional salsa dancers. You know what I mean? We're professional fighters, and that's the name of the game. You're going to get hit in the head. You're going to get beat up. But I think it's up to your coaches and up to yourself to educate yourself and just to be smart about your longevity in the sport. Over the years, I've done a lot for myself, and I don't train like I used to, but I still, I spar and prepare for these fights, and I take shots to the head, and that's just what it is. That's the line of business we're in.
Octagon News.